What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Freedom Fire Podcast, where we want to stoke the flames of freedom every single day. And I am very happy to be on this video with all of you today here in the United States of America, in the banana republic that the United States has become. And the reason I say that is because of insane stories like this from the post-millennial. Breaking: Georgia DA files, then retracts felony charges against Trump before the grand jury even votes. That's right, everyone. Your justice system is a sham. And they were going to bring these charges against Donald Trump that they did last night, whether the grand jury found him guilty or not. Let's get into this. On Monday, a document outlining charges against 2024 GOP frontrunner Donald Trump by Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis' office was briefly posted online and then deleted without explanation. The grand jury in charge of the case has yet to vote on the matter. They have voted now last night, and they chose to bring 10 of the original charges that were on this document. The document, dated August 14th, obtained by Reuters, reveals 13 charges against Trump, 12 of which are felonies. One is listed as a serious felony. And you can see that this is the document here. These charges include violations of the State Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act, or RICO Act, conspiracy to commit forgery in the first degree, filing false documents, and conspiracy to commit impersonating a public officer, among others, all related to alleged attempts to overturn the 2020 election results in Georgia. The investigation into alleged efforts by Trump to pressure Governor Brian Kemp and Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger to overturn the election results, as well as a plan to use an alternative slate of electors, has been ongoing since 2021. The DA is also looking to seek indictments against at least 12 other people, alleging that Trump and allies coordinated attempts to unlawfully alter the outcome of the 2020 elections in Georgia. Willis has already subpoenaed former Republican Lieutenant Governor Geoff Duncan, former Georgia Democratic State Senator Jen Jordan, and independent journalist George Cheedy as witnesses in the case. That's right, everyone. That's right. Right there. Right in front of your face. They were going to bring these charges against Donald Trump, whether the indictment was passed down by the grand jury or not. This tells you the grand jury did not matter. Now, the indictments that did go through was 10 charges, 10 felony charges, whereas the original had 12. I believe that after they had realized, holy crap, this just got leaked, that we're a bunch of corrupt douchebags, let's go ahead and change the number of charges that we actually do, because I think we can still get him on some of these charges. We'll just bring it down to 10 instead of 12 to try to discredit this little leaked document that got leaked. We're going to try to save ourselves in this situation. Absolute corruption, man. Absolute corruption. I'll get to the point of this video here in just a second, but I want to continue with this from the post-millennial. Breaking: Fani Willis, that's the DA in this Georgia county, fails to answer why identical indictment appeared, then was deleted before the grand jury voted. Fulton County DA Fani Willis held a press conference after the indictment on RICO charges was released in Georgia. The lengthy charges served against Trump and 18 of his associates involved the RICO Act, and are primarily regarding alleged conspiracies. Every individual charged, Willis said, in the indictment is charged with one count of violating Georgia's Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act through participation in a criminal enterprise in Fulton County, Georgia, and elsewhere to accomplish the legal goal of allowing Donald J. Trump to fees the presidential term of office beginning on January 2021. Willis further explained her theory of crimes allegedly committed, saying specifically the participants in association took various acts in Georgia and elsewhere to block the counting of the votes of presidential electors who were certified as the winners of Georgia's 2020 general election. As you examine the indictments, you will see acts. See, I want to focus on this exact paragraph right here. This is very important. So let's read. As you examine the indictment, you will see acts that are identified as overt acts and those that are identified as predicate acts, sometimes called acts of racketeering activity. Overt acts are not necessarily crimes under Georgia law in isolation, but are alleged to be acts taken in furtherance of the conspiracy. Many occurred in Georgia and some occurred in other jurisdictions and are included because the grand jury believes they were part of the illegal effort to overturn the results of Georgia's 2020 presidential election. Did the grand jury think that they were a part of it, or were they just going to bring these charges anyway? And that's the reality of the situation. This right here. Overt acts are not necessarily crimes under Georgia law in isolation, but are alleged to be acts taken in furtherance of the conspiracy. What does that even mean? These people don't even know what the heck they're talking about. They don't know what they're doing. Furthermore, they had charges against Trump's lawyers for doing law, for practicing law. I kid you not. I would tell anyone to go and look at these charges because they're insane. They don't make any sense. These lawyers were doing their job and are now being charged for practicing law, for doing the jobs that they were being paid to by Donald Trump to be his lawyers. Guys, point of this video is this. If we thought that there was ever a chance of Donald Trump getting a free trial or getting a fair trial in these cases, that should be completely gone now. These charges are bunk. They don't make any sense. They're now charging anyone and everyone who is willing to help Donald Trump, including his lawyers. So now Trump is going to have to go out and get new lawyers because the lawyers he does have are being charged in this case. Guys, I'm sorry. You no longer live in a free society. I know that I've been saying that for a couple videos now, a couple weeks now, but if this can happen to the ex-president, it can absolutely happen to you and will happen to you. The Democrats are attempting to send a message. Do not get in our way. Do not stand against us. And anyone who does will be dealt with like this. I don't know, man. I don't know where we go from here. We are reaching very scary times. We talk about civil war, right? And the reality of the first American Civil War is that there was actually only a very small percentage of men who fought in the Civil War. I want to say it was only like 200,000 to 300,000 men fought in the Civil War. You compare that to a total population of about 30 million people. That's a very small percentage of the population that's actually fighting, but it was one of the most destructive and deadly wars that has ever been fought on American soil. Now, I want you to imagine if just 1% of the population today were to try to fight each other in a civil war. It's millions. It's like literally over 3 million people. That would be enough to rip this country apart. Now, any civil war in general, I think, would be enough to do that. But you know what I mean. Guys, we're getting to the point where we're about to hit that point. I'm sorry. I don't see any other way. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't want to see that here in this country, but I don't see how the American people, I don't see how some American people will just sit by and allow this communist revolution to take hold in America. I don't see how. I really don't. At the end of the day, we know that this is corruption. We know that these charges are bunk. But also on the other end of the spectrum, I don't see how Donald Trump is going to get out of this. I don't see how Donald Trump gets out of this without being put in prison. I think they want to make an example of Donald Trump because he dared to go against the establishment, to go against Democrat rule, to go against neocon rule, neoconservatives. The establishment, I'm telling you guys, they're going to make an example of Donald Trump. And it's not so much meant to tear down Donald Trump. Of course it is. But it's really more of an example for you. It really is. It's to show you that it's to try and show you that there is no hope. Oh, don't you dare go against us, because you'll just lose every time. Where do you go from there, man? Where do you go when you've tried everything? You've tried to do things the legal way. You've tried to use the court system to go against this corruption. You've tried to use, elections to go against the corruption. And every single time the corruption keeps on winning because the entire system is a part of the corruption. You can't escape it. I don't know where we go from here, man. At the end of the day, I think that civil war is quickly becoming more and more likely every day because of this. Because of the fact that conservatives have tried every legal avenue. We've tried everything. I think that if Donald Trump gets thrown in prison for these bunk charges, I think that states could get taken over by other factions and end up seceding. I think that there could be civil war. I think there could be fighting in the streets between multiple different factions trying to vie for power in the midst of the chaos. Guys, this is insane, man. All for power. Think about that. The greatest nation that's ever existed on this planet, the most powerful nation that's ever existed, destroyed just because some old craggy folk up in Washington, D.C. just have to hold on to power. We're going to let it all burn if we don't stay in power. If we don't get what's ours. Or what we think is ours. I don't know, man. I'm not telling anyone to take up arms. It's not what I'm saying. Please don't do that. Okay? But what I am saying is please defend yourself. You need to defend yourself. We know that this government is corrupt. We know that this government is getting out of control. We know that they're now cheating to disrupt the election and to jail their political opponents so that Joe Biden can win the next election. It's clear as day. These charges are bunk. These charges don't make any sense. The charges in New York, Miami, Washington, and now Georgia, they're all fake. They're all bunk. It's very clear to see that. And it's also very clear now to see that Donald Trump was never going to get anything close to a fair trial. I don't know what you do with that. I think that ultimately we, the American people, need to be buying guns. We need to be buying ammunition. We need to be training with those weapons. You need to be taking some kind of you need to be doing some kind of mixed martial arts training. I would suggest Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu or Muay Thai, something along those lines. And here's why: is because it's very clear that this government is not only is it out of control now, it's getting more and more out of control by the day. And I'm not saying it's going to happen today. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. But I believe this government will come for anyone and everyone who is dissenting against them. Not just their political opponents. I'm talking about you and me. And in that moment, we're going to have a choice to make. To live on our knees or die on our feet. Now, I don't know necessarily what you guys will choose. I would definitely prefer not to have to go down like that. I definitely want to grow up seeing my family. I want my daughter. I want to see my daughter grow. But ultimately, I love my country. And if I have to sacrifice myself so that my child can grow up in a free society and not live under a Democrat communist boot, then I think I'm willing to do that. I really do. The question is, are you? Are the American people going to be cowards and just allow this communist takeover to happen? I don't know, man. I don't know. We live in scary times, very scary times, and ultimately, unfortunately, there are people in this country who are such cowards that they act as if they can't see this happening. And they'll just go along to get along. They will have... It's just like so many of the German citizens back in the 1930s who just were so afraid. We can't go against the party. We can't go against the Nazi party because if we do, they'll kill us. It's like, and? Freedom, or give me freedom or give me death. Those were the words of our forefathers. Nathan Hale, who was a spy for George Washington in the Continental Army, when he was standing at the gallows right before he was about to be hanged for quote-unquote treason against the crown, when in reality it was the crown that had failed every citizen that was in the United States at the time. Nathan Hale, his last words were, "My only regret is that I have but one life to give for my country." See, I don't think many Americans really understand what a civil war or a revolution is. A civil war will mean death. It will mean death. There will be a lot of us that die if we choose to go that route. This country will more than likely not look at all the same. There will probably be states that leave and never come back to the United States. And ultimately, that is going to allow other parties and entities and powers to come in and get a foothold here on this continent. Guys, I know I'm rambling at this point, but that's the point where we're at, man. We have reached pure insanity. And ultimately, we as American citizens have a choice to make. How far are we going to allow this to go before we finally realize, okay, there are no more rules anymore. There are no more laws anymore. They're not going to follow the laws. They're not going to do what's right. Why should we? What's stopping us? I don't know, man. I don't know. But I know we got a choice to make. I'm going to leave it there. I'll have another show coming for you guys probably tomorrow. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, follow me on all the socials down in the description, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified whenever we put out new videos. Thank you guys once again so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.